Hi everyone, this is Katie. I'm one of the creators of Treasure Kits, and I'm here to talk to you today about the kit that we launched yesterday. It is our grief kit, and this one is quite different than anything we've done before. It's not really as whimsical and as themed as some of our others, but I really believe that it's going to be a really important one for children in our community. And I wanted to take some time today to explain to you why Townley and I thought this one was important, what the contents represent, and how it might be able to be used by a child in your life that is grieving. So, in the last many years, I have spent some time with children who are grieving different losses throughout their lives, and I have learned quite a bit about how children grieve, what they need when they grieve, and what helps them as they grieve. So I wanted to share some of that with you today and kind of explain how the kit came to be. So I often say to kids that grief, that they are experiencing grief, and we talk about what is grief. And so I say that when someone dies, we feel a sadness that is so big and so intense that people decided that we couldn't just call it sad. It had to have another word. But we also realize that when someone dies, it's not just sadness, that we feel shock and disbelief, that we feel really confused, that we feel angry, that we might feel lonely or jealous of someone else who isn't experiencing grief. And so when all of those feelings swirl inside of us, it can be really, really overwhelming. Sometimes it's hard to know which one you're feeling because you can feel lots of them at the same time. Some of them will come and go. Some will be stronger than others at different times. And we kind of draw all this on a paper and it gets really swirly and confusing. And so I say, we couldn't just call that sadness. It wouldn't explain everything that we feel. So someone came up with the word grief. And grief is this overwhelming experience of all of these emotions at once. So even just explaining that word to children and all that that word entails really gives them, empowers them a little bit and normalizes what they're experiencing. So that's what grief is in sort of kids speak. We know as adults who have grieved throughout our lives that grieving is overwhelming and that it is exhausting and that it can be confusing. For children, that experience in some ways is intensified because they lack an understanding of death. Sometimes young children really even lack an understanding of the finality of death. We in our lifetimes have had different grief that we have experienced. We have seen others grieve. We have had deaths that were not as close to us and some that were extremely close. And for children, sometimes their first experience of grief can be someone who is very close. And that's a lot for them to wrap their heads around. They don't have these previous experiences with death that they can sort of link to and have some understanding. Also, a lot of times children lack the emotional vocabulary to really capture all that they're feeling and all that's happening inside their heart and inside their mind. So I often say, with a lot of the emotional work that I do with children, but with grief in particular, you don't have to tell me, you can show me. And there's a real relief in that we're not pressing for words that they just don't have, that we're not asking for an explanation of something that they just can't quite put into words. And all of us who have grieved deeply know that sometimes there are no words. So that's where this kit comes in as a possible way for children to show rather than to tell. Now, in our pictures that we post and such, we always post like a sample scene, and there is one for you, but I want to say this. It was really intended for adults to give them some idea of what can be done with the kit. It would be my recommendation that you don't show that to the child because I don't want them to think that there's something that they should be doing or should be creating. This really can be their own space to show what's right for them. So just kind of a tip there. Um, the kit comes with an insert, and on one side we speak directly to the child, and on the other side we speak directly to the grown-up. So if you're giving the kit as a gift, there is some context there to explain the thinking and how the kit can be used. So I hope that is helpful. Obviously, there's always 3 rolls of dough, and we chose those colors very specifically to coordinate with what the child might want to do. So I'll just kind of get into the kit and explain to you what we have here and why. So the first thing I would like to show you is that we created a little sign, and this is addressed on the insert, but you could also tell the child they can put this in a piece of dough, and when they put it up, it says, "Please give me some quiet space. I might be talking to someone I love and miss very much." So this can sort of just become a haven of where they go when they want to sort of connect with the person who has died. And they can ask everyone else to give them space and leave them alone for a little while without having to even say it. So that was one important piece to me, that the child has a way to like communicate that need to the adults around them. Also in the kit, you will find what I am calling the memory box. And so one thing that you can encourage the child to do is to take out each one of these gems and speak a memory that they have of the person who has died. So they can keep them tucked away safely, sort of like in this treasure box. Another thing that they might want to do with those memories, because those memories and that love is what keeps us forever connected to the person who has died. So they may even choose like to have this represent themselves and this represent the person who has died. And within the dough, they might make a path of those memories, connecting these two people and representing that these people will always stay connected through the love and the memories that they share. So that's what the memory box is for. Now I want to say, the memory box does intentionally fit the large person. That was done on purpose. Younger children may choose to use the box to represent the casket that the person was in. They may even go so far as to like bury the box and put flowers on the box and sort of reenact what they remember from the funeral or what they were told happened to the body. That is okay. It's not morbid. It is the child trying to sort of process and remember what they've been told about this experience that they've never had before. So that's okay. Another sort of symbol that's within the box is this gate. So families have very different beliefs about what happens in the afterlife, and we wanted to be respectful of anyone's beliefs and create a kit that can be used for all people and that you can tailor to what your family believes. But this gate could be used to represent a person moving from one life to the next. It might not. It might, for some families who don't believe in an afterlife, this may just simply be, you know, like something that they saw at the cemetery, or they may think of a totally different way to use this gate, but that was the thinking behind it. Along those lines, like some people believe in souls going to heaven or going somewhere else. And so we included like a white dough if kids wanted to kind of like envision some of the images that they've been given about heaven. But we also included some stars and some blue gems to create like a night sky. So there are some people who say that the stars are our loved ones shining down on us from another place. So sometimes that brings comfort to kids. Sometimes, you know, it just depends on the belief of the family or even what the child takes on as their own belief. And from the different things that they get told by different people, they can form their own belief system of where this person has gone or how they might be able to connect with this person still. It's a difficult thing. It's difficult for us as adults, so it's definitely difficult for kids. We also included, so like you'll get like some wooden hearts that they can like stamp a path in the ground to connect the two people. I don't want to say too much of like what they should do or could do. There's really endless possibilities, and I think it'll be really beautiful and really wonderful to watch what your child chooses to do with the things that are here. But I do want to explain this little guy. So in every kit, there is an elephant. And anytime I talk to a child about someone that has died in their life, I'll often use the symbol of an elephant. And so I often, I'll give them a stuffed elephant or a little figure of an elephant. And I say, you tell that elephant everything you remember about the person who died, because an elephant never forgets. So we included that in the kit, and that can be something comforting you can tell the child and that they can put into their scenes that they build. Likewise, there's like a rainbow in the kit, and sometimes rainbows are like symbols of hope, or I have someone, a child that died many years ago, and his parents and I still will text each other, call each other when we see a rainbow, because we think that that's a sign from him. Now, some people might say, there is no way you can prove that. And I would say, well, there's no way you can prove that it's not true either. And it brings me comfort. So I think any of these things that bring comfort to children or help them have like a concrete way to represent what has happened, to represent what they have lost, to kind of talk through, I think it can open a lot of conversations between the child and the adult when the child wants to talk. And I think that can be really powerful. Sometimes we just don't know where to start. The other thing I want you to know about this kit is that you can purchase extra pieces to go in the kit. So if sadly a child has lost like both grandparents, or there have been more than one death in the recent past, you can get extra adult peg dolls to put in. You can get extra children peg dolls to put in. Like if there's several children in a family and you want them all to be represented, we can do that. And we also have cat and dog figures, because sometimes that is the first significant loss for a child, to lose a beloved pet who's part of their family. So they could be included in the kit as well, and they can be purchased separately. So I hope this helps. I hope it gives you some idea about why we created the kit, and just why we thought it was so deeply important for children to have a way to express their grief and to be able to show when sometimes it's just too hard to tell. So if you have any questions, please feel free to message us or comment below. We certainly know that this isn't like, oh, unicorns and mermaids and dinosaurs, right? But I think that there's a place for using play to heal for children. So I hope that if you ever need it, that this kit will be beneficial to a child that you love. Thanks so much.